sports.
We are Blackhawks. We are Wisconsin.
Outside is frightful here in Milwaukee. It feels like wintertime. It's snowing in April, but that's okay. Delightful inside. The roof is closed, and the Cubs are in town. The I-94 rivalry. The Brewers put their hitting shoes on against the San Francisco Giants. A big offensive attack. They swept the reigning world champs. Got a capper yesterday from Giovanni Gallardo, his first win of the season. And that sets the stage for tonight, the Brewers and the Cubs. Hi, everybody. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. Great to have you with us tonight. The roof is sealed up tight. It's very nice in here. Can't believe it's snowing in April in Milwaukee Rock. But the Brewers have found a spark with their bats in the last series against the San Francisco Giants, one of the better pitching staffs in the league.
It's kind of been feast or famine for this offense so far this year. 32 consecutive scoreless innings, and all of a sudden everybody up and down the batting order starting to get involved. 7 home runs for the Brewers in their first 11 games, and all of a sudden against a very good starting rotation, the San Francisco Giants, they banged out 7. Guys at the top of the order, guys at the bottom of the order have been doing a great job. They say hitting is contagious, and I think that the guy in front of you, when he starts to hit and the guy behind you starts to hit, everybody starts to relax. You don't really feel the burden of the offense by yourself.
Well, the Brewers are trying to make it 5 in a row. They send up Marco Estrada to the mound. When we come back, Craig Kashawn, Dave Nelson, they'll break down Marco Estrada and his night against Jeff Samardzija and the Cubs.
Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards.
By Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Toyota. Let's go places. And by the wireless receiver only from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. Back to Miller Park tonight. The I-94 series rolls on between the Cubs and the Brewers. Marco Estrada out on the hill against Jeff Samardzija. I'm Craig Cushon alongside Davey Nelson. And Marco Estrada on a roll. He has a 1-0 record. That one win came 2 starts ago against these same Chicago Cubs, but the team has won his last 2 starts. Why has he been so effective?
Well, one is because his command has been really outstanding, partner. What he does so well is that he spots his fastball, but his location, as you see right down there, changeup. But he also, what he'll do, you'll see, sometimes change the eye level of the hitter and just gives him a little different look. He elevates that fastball, and that's why he gets a lot of strikeouts.
He has 21 strikeouts and has only issued 2 walks this season for Marco Estrada. The Brewers have won 4 in a row, and he started this winning streak on Sunday when the team was able to rally in that start Sunday to beat St. Louis. Now he's back out on the hill trying to make it 5 in a row for Milwaukee. Brewers in the dugout, ready to go. First pitch is coming up next. The Chicago Cubs and your Milwaukee Brewers here on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
On a Friday night behind Ryan Braun. Brewers Cubs tonight, game 1 of a 3-game series as the homestand continues. And Marco Estrada is on the bump tonight, matching up against Jeff Samardzija, the hard-throwing right-hander. And there's a familiar face, Dale Swaim. Still looks strange in that other dugout, doesn't he? Former Brewers manager at one point back in 2008 on an interim basis. And his second season as the Cubs skipper. Endured a 100-loss season last season. Got a little bit better lineup going nowadays. Piggly Wiggly batting order that Swain puts together reads like this. It's De Jesus at the top. Castro batting second with Anthony Rizzo. Very good power hitter hitting third. And then in the middle, it's Soriano, Shearholtz, and Wellington Castillo, a young catcher. Luis Valbuena plays third. Darwin Barney at second base, and Jeff Samardzija rounds it out. And that's the Cubs starting 9 against right-hander Marco Estrada.
And making his 4th start of the year. His 2nd start against the Cubs. He picked up a win back on April 8th at Wrigley. Has never lost to the Cubs in 4 starts. 9 games overall for Marco. Pretty good his last time out against St. Louis. As you check out the Menards defense for the Brewers, 4 games in a row, Ron Renick sent out the same lineup, same defensive lineup. Yuniesky Betancourt continues to play a solid first base, has not committed an error.
Well, the Brewers going with the why change decision for Ron Renick. They've won 4 straight. They have gotten back to within 2 of 500 after starting the season, dropping 8 of their first 10 ball games. The Brewers are now 6-8. Uni Betancourt has had a terrific series, not just offensively, but at first base as well. Chris Cuccione will call the balls and strikes. Tom Hallion is the crew chief. He's over at first base. And the others, Phil Cuzzi and Ron Kolpa. There's the crew chief, Tom Hallion, 4-man big league umpiring crew. And everybody's in place. And we're ready to play ball here tonight. Very comfortable inside Miller Park. Not so comfortable outside Miller Park. Saw a little bit of snow, saw some rain, a little bit of sleet, and some hail earlier today. We had it all. Estrada ready to go. First pitch is in there for a strike. And away we go from Miller Park on a Friday night. David DeJesus leads off for the Cubs. And now their everyday center fielder. The Brewers split the series with the Cubs at Wrigley Field, just 2 games. Had a 3rd game scheduled that was postponed due to inclement weather, and the Cubs have dealt with a lot of that so far this year. They've lost 2 games. They're coming off a split against the Texas Rangers at Wrigley Field, while the Brewers coming off that sweep over the Giants.
Cubs batting order starting to swing the bats a little bit. You know, Marco Estrada very effective in his first start against the Cubs back on April 8th. Very effective with a changeup. Had a lot of swings and misses on that pitch like he usually does.
Now Marco Estrada joined by Giovanni Gallardo as the 2 starters with wins after Gallardo's victory yesterday. And there's a called strike 3, and a good way to start the night for Marco Estrada. Backwards K on David DeJesus.
And Marco had 2 walks and now 22 strikeouts in 18 1/3 innings. So he's got a very good strikeout to walk ratio, as that one just barely catches the bottom of the strike zone.
Estrada looking for his 2nd win. His lone win came against the Chicago Cubs. Brewers had to hang on to win that game, but Estrada started at Wrigley Field. Starlin Castro now. Castro hitting .311 coming in. He's 19 for 61 at the plate this year. He does have a couple of home runs. Quickly down, no balls and 2 strikes. Castro is adding to a very long consecutive game streak. This is game number 211 for him. That's the second longest in the major leagues. Only Prince Fielder of the Tigers has played more games, and Estrada goes up the ladder. He strikes him out. Back-to-back Ks for Marco Estrada.
They make him aware of that changeup, and Marco able to get the strikeout on the high fastball. Most of his strikeouts on a swing are going to be up there, out of the strike zone, and Castro chases the 0-2 heater.
So 2 gone in the inning, and here is Anthony Rizzo now. Rizzo's batting average is low, but he's hit 4 home runs already. First swing he took of the season, he went deep. That was in Pittsburgh. 4 homers, 11 RBIs, but he's only hitting .180 coming in. Cubs as a lineup, not a team that is walking very much. They're a free swinging bunch. As a matter of fact, only the Phillies have a higher walk to plate appearance average. If you go deep into the metrics a little bit, the Cubs as a team, 16 plate appearances per walk. So they're not up there to take many pitches. And really the 2 guys who do walk, DeJesus and the man at the plate, Anthony Rizzo, the 2 left-handed hitters.
Anthony Rizzo got hit by a pitch in yesterday's ball game down around the knees, so I guess the book on him, pitch him inside.
Two balls and a strike on Rizzo. And he's out in front of it. High fly ball to Aoki with plenty of room. And a nice start for Marco Estrada. 3 up, 3 down with a pair of Ks. The Brewers coming up for the first time. Ron Renicky putting a lineup together that has had a lot of success over the last 4 days. Piggly Wiggly batting order today for Renicky. It's Aoki, Segura, and Braun. Middle of the order, Weeks, Lucroy, and Gonzalez, with Gomez, Betancourt, and Estrada rounding it out. And that's the lineup that will face the hard-throwing right-hander Jeff Samardzija.
Yeah, the opening day pitcher for Dale Swaim and the Cubs this year. Already making his 3rd road start. He's only made 1 start at home. He's made 17 appearances against the Brewers, 3 starts, and he's got a 2-3 record.
Cubs come in at 5-9. And Samardzija impressively racking up a bunch of strikeouts early. Facing Nori Aoki to start it for the Brewers offensively, who has a good history against Samardzija. And there's a bouncer, and Rizzo cannot handle the hop. And Aoki is aboard on an error by Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, tried to be a little bit too quick. I think he tried to grab it and then tag Aoki, and he forgot something. Forgot the baseball. That's all it takes. And not a good start defensively for the Cubs. Cubs are near the bottom of the National League in team defense.
Yeah, the Cubs overall as a team with now 12 errors in this, the 15th game of the season. That's the first for Rizzo, normally a sure-handed first baseman. So a base runner is aboard for Milwaukee for Gene Segura. And Aoki takes off, hit and run, beautifully done. Aoki on his way to 3rd, and Segura keeps on hitting. Came in with a batting average of .367, and now the Brewers in business in the first inning.
Boy, nothing prettier than a well-executed hit and run, and Segura, a perfect guy to do it. He goes to right field very well. Darwin Barney, the second baseman, covering. This ball almost gets a piece of Aoki as he goes by. Very close. I don't think he ever saw it coming.
It probably tells you it was a straight steal by Aoki, but it worked out as a perfectly executed hit and run. And the balanced spray chart of Segura, he's done it all this year. So the error possibly opening up a big first inning for the Brewers. Now Ryan Braun stepping in. 3 pitches into this game, and Samardzija having to reach back for a little extra. Braun, another guy with good numbers against Samardzija in his career. Braun hit his 3rd home run of the season yesterday. Has a home run against Samardzija. 6 for 13 lifetime against this pitcher.
And good numbers against a hard thrower, but you know, Samardzija is a much different pitcher now than he was even last year. The Cubs say he's figured it out. He's throwing a lot of strikes, and he's mixing his pitches very well.
And it's 0-2 on Braun.
And 96 up in the strike zone. He's got a good arm. Fastball, slider, and a splitter. And not afraid to throw any of them at any time. That's why his earned run average is at 275.
First start against Milwaukee. His win came against the Pirates in his first start of the year. Losses to the Braves and the Giants in his last 2, Samardzija.
Well, check out the Menards defense for the Cubs. 12 errors near the bottom of the league. Darwin Barney back, the Gold Glove second baseman from a year ago. He went 141 straight games without committing an error. So the Cubs glad to have him back.
Now that tied a major league record, tying Placido Polanco's record, which he set as a member of the Tigers back in '07. That long errorless streak by Darwin Barney. 141 games playing a position that has a lot of traffic typically at second base.
A lot of opportunities to make errors. That blind throw on a double play, and Darwin Barney has handled it pretty well. Started the year on the disabled list. He cut his knee right at the end of spring training.
0-2 to Braun. There goes Segura, and Braun fouls it away. The Brewers running early and often here against Samardzija. Like a lot of power pitchers, he looks like a guy you might be able to take advantage of on the base paths. Castillo, the Cubs catcher, throws the ball well.
Samardzija, big guy. Takes a while to get rid of the baseball. He's 6'5".
First and third, nobody out. Another 2-strike pitch is hammered into deep left field. Soriano looks up, and there she goes. Ryan Braun with a 3-run home run. And back-to-back games with a first-inning home run to give the Brewers the lead. That's number 4 for Braun.
And Samardzija hung a slider, and Ryan Braun all over it on a 0-2 count. Goodness gracious. Now the Brewers have been scoring early in games lately. They're all over Matt Cain early in yesterday's game. There it is, a hanger up around the letters, and Ryan able to get on top of it and knock it out of here. And Powerball home run count number 4 for Ryan Braun.
Well, the Brewers are banging away on this homestand. That is already the 8th home run in the 4th game of this series. 3 games and an inning. It took the Brewers 11 games, the first 11 games, to hit 7 home runs, and then they hit 7 in the series against the Giants. And now Braun goes deep, and Samardzija, 8 pitches into his start, is down 3-0 in this game. Well, Ryan Braun cleaned up at the Wisconsin Sports Awards last night, and he continues to swing a good bat. A little flare, going to be a tough play, and Barney unable to get there. Weeks never slowed down. He's on his way to second, and that'll be a hustle double for Ricky Weeks.
Good, nice opportunity for Ricky Weeks. Hustles out of that box, figuring that's going to be a tough play for somebody. It's kind of right in between the right fielder Shearholtz and Darwin Barney, and not even the Gold Glover can get a piece of that one. Pitch down in the strike zone, and Ricky Weeks knows that that's going to be trouble. He's hustling all the way and makes it into second base easily. Can't ask for a better start to the night for Milwaukee.
It's the 4th double of the year for Ricky Weeks. Barney, who has great range, he's the an outstanding defender. He comes up just a little short. So the Brewers already with 3 runs on 3 hits. There was that opening error by Rizzo. The first 4 batters have reached. And here comes Jonathan Lucroy as you hear the chants of Luke come raining down on him. Overall numbers at .255 for Lucroy. A couple of homers, 8 runs batted in. But there is a definite demarcation line for Lucroy. He started 0 for 13 this year, but is now 12 for his last 34 at the plate since that 0 for 13 start. And that's a .353 pace during that time. Both of his home runs have come during that time.
And that's why Ron Renegades hadn't been able to get out of the lineup. Then you see the pitch from Jeff Samardzija is actually a split-fingered fastball. Kind of looked like a slider, but he got on the side of a split-fingered fastball, off speed anyway, regardless, and knocks it out of here.
And a pump of the fist for Ryan Braun. So the count at 0-2 as Lucroy chases. Marco Estrada working a quick top of the first. Had 2 strikeouts. And Samardzija has not recorded an out yet. 0-2 the count on Lucroy. Well, Lucroy was in all-star form last year prior to his injury. He broke his hand in an off-field accident in late May of last year. It knocked him out for nearly 2 months. There's another little flare. That's going to be a tough play. It slices and it's just foul. Wow.
Samardzija's got to be out there thinking, what do I got to do to get it out here? That one missed by about 3 feet from being another double and a run in. And that's what you want to do. You want to get into the head of these Cubs. The Brewers have owned Chicago here at Miller Park lately.
Now the Brewers have won 15 of their last 17 games against the Chicago Cubs here at Miller Park.
Man, you got off to a good start and you got them thinking that what do we got to do to win here? Oh no, not again type mentality in that dugout.
Now that's a mark that goes back to the 2011 season as Lucroy. That's a fair ball. Down in the corner it goes. Weeks will score easily. Lucroy thinking about 3. He's going to try it. And he will make it. A triple for Jonathan Lucroy. 4-0 Brewers. The Brewers have hit for the cycle in this inning. The team cycle is Lucroy with his first triple of the season.
Man, what a nice approach by Lucroy with 2 strikes. Not a bad pitch. It might have got a little bit of the plate, but it was up down in his zone, and he just slices it inside that right field line and hustles all the way around to third base. This ball gets through 2 cutoff men, and Lucroy slides in safely.
Cubs might have had a shot if Barney comes up with that relay. He never slowed down. Infield in now for Alex Gonzalez. Still nobody out. 4 runs in on 4 hits and an error. Popped him up. That's going to drift into the seats. Oh, what a start tonight for the Brew Crew.
You just never know how things get going. That error really opens up the inning. And Segura with that ground ball to second could have been an out if there's nobody on, but man, that's the way things go. Teams make mistakes, and the Brewers have been jumping all over it.
Now the Brewers hitting .261 as a team coming into play tonight. And when you consider they went 32 innings without scoring a run, they set a franchise record. That's a distant memory right now, considering how the Brewers are swinging the bat here. I remember what Johnny Naron said before the Giants series began. He said the due bucket is full, meaning they're due to get some hits. And boy, was he right on the money with that. They've been hitting ever since.
And it's been everybody contributing. Everybody up and down the batting order. That's what it takes.
A team, when it's not hitting, nobody feels that pressure more than the hitting coach. Same for a pitching coach when the team's not pitching well, as Gonzalez foul tips that one in and out of the mid of Castillo.
They say hitting's contagious, and I think what that really means is that a guy like Gonzalez goes up there, he doesn't feel the weight of the world on his shoulders when nobody else around him is hitting. He's figuring, I'm going to relax. If I don't get it done, the guy behind me is going to be able to drive in a run. Men on base, the pitcher has a different mentality when he's got a man in scoring position.
The 2-2 is fouled back. Good swing by Gonzalez.
It's all about being able to go up there and relax and not try and do too much. It's an overused statement, not trying to do too much, but that's the way it is. You just do your job, not try and carry the offense on your shoulders, which is what the Brewers were doing in that Cardinal series.
Gonzalez, a little jam shot out to second. Lucroy will have to hold his ground. And there is the first out for the Cubs in the bottom of the first. Lucroy was kind of stuck in the middle there. The Cubs had their infield in, and a sure-handed second baseman.
Man, it looked like a line drive to Jonathan Lucroy, so there's no way he was going to be able to get a jump.
Well, here comes one of the Brewers, maybe most symbolic of this hot streak, as the team has won 4 in a row. Carlos Gomez is 10 for 15 at the plate in that stretch. 10 hits and 15 at bats. He's 7 for 10 on the homestand. At his first home run of the year against the Giants.
Well, the big difference is the guy at the plate and the guy on deck. Last 4 games.
Cubs still have their infield in, and Gomez lifts it in the air. Lucroy's going to tag. Barney makes the catch, and Lucroy cannot advance. Boy, Ed Cedar was all the way down near home plate, the third base coach, to get the stop sign up for Jonathan Lucroy.
Yeah, which means he was going to wait as long as he could to hold him up. If the throw was going to be off the mark or there was going to be a stumble, watch Eddie. As soon as that ball goes up in the air, when he's down that far, he wants Lucroy to tag, take off, and sends him back when he sees a good throw.
I thought Ed Cedar was trying to score on that pop-up. Well, that is the second out now. Lucroy still at third base, and here comes Yudi Betancourt. We highlighted Betancourt in the Brewers Live pregame show today. Well, he's having a great series, and not just with the bat. He's been outstanding defensively as well, playing first base. Brewers are anxious for Aramis Ramirez to return, and he will be back soon, probably on the next road trip toward the end, or certainly by the time the Brewers return to Miller Park for the next homestand. Betancourt has 5 hits in his last 4 games, including that grand slam. Slow roller over to cut it off Valbuena, and he gets Betancourt for the out, and the inning ends. But the Brewers put 4 on the board. They hit for the team cycle in the first inning. Braun goes deep, a 3-run blast. Lucroy with a triple and an RBI, scoring Weeks. head to the top of the second. A reminder that Fox Sports Wisconsin is your home for Bucks postseason coverage before and after every playoff game. The Bucks Live presented by Marshfield Clinic. Get live action, complete coverage of games 1, 2, and 3, and then tune in Sunday for game 1 when the Bucks travel to Miami to take on LeBron James and the Heat. And the action tips off at 5 p.m. with Bucks Live. That is only on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Looking forward to the NBA playoffs getting underway. And we wish the Bucks the best of luck. An 8 seed matching up against the very dangerous Miami Heat.
Good to see Jim Paskey at the ballpark. I don't see him around here very much. Kind of busy right now.
Former Brewers announcer, one of your many partners that you plowed through in your career.
Yeah, first 2 years with Jimmy, we had a good time. I had a lot to learn back then. He put up with a lot.
You have 3 partners, at least former or current, in the building tonight.
Right. Yeah.
Soriano beats the shift. Lines one to right field and a base hit for the Cubs. They're first. You got me sitting here with you, Jim Paskey. What years were you with Paskey back in the
95 and 96
90s? And then Len Casper is here, the Cubs television voice.
Yeah, he filled in a couple of about 20 games a year when Vasgersian took off for some national games.
To go get a professional waxing.
It took 2 days.
There's Len Casper and Jim DeShays, the new Cubs analyst, replacing Bob Brenly. Great guys. Always enjoy catching up with them. Here's Nate Schierholtz with a man on. Schierholtz is off to a nice start. Part of that Giants World Series team last year. And a little cue shot that'll stay foul. Well, Ryan Braun was a star last night, as was the man in the shadows there. That is Aaron Rodgers. And he's enjoying this game. And Ryan Braun spotted him up there, gave him a little championship belt. I like that. From one MVP to the other. And those two were a big hit at the Wisconsin Sports Awards last night. And I understand the event was a huge success. It's a great event. It's the second annual Wisconsin Sports Awards. And Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Braun pulled out a big comedy act. And they were very funny, very entertaining. Brewers were glad to be a part of it. So congratulations to the folks involved in putting on the Wisconsin Sports Awards. I was at the Harley Davidson Museum last night. Two and two the count on Nate Schierholtz. Has a couple of home runs, 8 driven in for the Cubs. Got 4 lefties in the lineup tonight against Estrada. Schierholtz. Oh, it's caught by Estrada to first, and a double play.
Some kind of reflexes from Marco right there. Wow. It's either catch it or get drilled somewhere.
And then the presence of mind to throw from the seat of his pants to get the double play. What a great catch by Estrada.
Just throws the glove up there. He was able to get his head out of the way. It wouldn't have hit him anywhere, but he ends up getting a double play out of what should have been a base hit. So 2 outs, nobody on, instead of first and second, nobody out.
They're still cheering about that one. You'll see that one all over the highlight reels tonight. That's one of the best of the day in the big leagues. A 1-3 double play, as it turns out, off the bat of Nate Schierholtz. So 2 are gone now, and here is Wellington Castillo, coming off a 4-for-4 game yesterday against the Rangers. another look.
Yeah, you finish your delivery, you square yourself up, and that's why Marco has a chance to make that play.
Oh, and you start the season 2-8, and it seems like everything's going wrong. You've seen enough games around here that usually it turns over at some point. The Brewers are catching a lot of breaks, making their own breaks, and playing terrific baseball as Estrada retires Castillo, starts a double play for the first 2 outs, and finishes it off. Ready to lead off here as we head to the bottom of the second inning. Want to say hi to all the kids at the Milwaukee College Preparatory School on 35th Street. Rock, I went over there and had a chat with them earlier today, and man, great kids, very inspiring. I told them I'd hold up their T-shirt.
Nice.
And I told them I would cover up Schroeder with it. So run MCP, Milwaukee College Prep. I don't think it's going to fit you.
That's good. You know, next time I'd like to have a heads up if we're going to be on camera. Maybe I can straighten up a little bit.
I wanted to send our best out to those kids and the teachers. Very inspiring school. And thanks to Teddy Warner, who arranged that visit today.
Kind of a prelude to the score program coming
exactly.
up. Yeah.
Also, it's a big day around these parts because it is Mike Vasallo's birthday. The Brewers Director of Media Relations.
It's a big day in the Vasallo household.
Yes.
I mean, it's bigger than Christmas.
I don't know a guy who loves his birthday more than Mike Vasallo. He presented himself with a very nice cake earlier today.
It was good, too. I had some.
I did, too.
Not too many guys bring their own cake for their birthday, right?
BYOC. Estrada is down quickly. Samardzija making quick work of Marco Estrada for his first strikeout.
Now that brings us to tonight's Tavern of the Game winner, Valley Green Golf Course in Muskego. They call the Brewers in the next 24 hours. They get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin, Miller Lite, and Mike Vasallo's birthday.
Well, there won't be any golfing going on there in Muskego.
Maybe a little bit of bellying up over there at the Valley Green Golf Course.
One of these days we'll actually put a tee in the ground here. It's going to happen. We might have to be in California when it happens, but we're going to play here in Milwaukee soon.
We're going there next week. Day off in Los Angeles.
Yeah, the Brewers headed on a road trip to San Diego and LA as Aoki turns one around, a base hit for Nori Aoki, who has 5 career hits against Samardzija. He's now 5 for 8 against him lifetime. If you're just picking us up, the Brewers were very busy in the first. Aoki reached on an error. Segura executed a perfect hit and run, and then Braun hit a 3-run home run. And then it was a flare double by Weeks, and then Lucroy with his first triple of the season, driving in Weeks for the 4th run of the inning. Samardzija had allowed 3 runs in just 8 pitches. Barely getting his day started, he was already 3-0 behind.
And his season high allowing runs is 4 this year. That happened against the Braves in Atlanta. He's thrown well. He really has. A 1-2 record, a 275 earned run average. The home run that he gave up to Ryan Braun, his first allowed this year.
Samardzija has been especially good when there are less than 2 outs. Opponents hitting for just a 130 batting average against Samardzija prior to getting 2 outs in an inning. But it's interesting that he struggled a little bit with 2 outs. Opponents hitting 280 against him. And it's early and not a huge sample size, but he's not giving up many hits at all leading up to his start here tonight.
13 hits in just shy of 20 innings of work. That's pretty good.
And racking up a bunch of strikeouts as well. 27 Ks in those 19 2/3 leading up to this start. Former wide receiver at Notre Dame. He was a good one too. Had certainly had a chance to go to the NFL, but he decided on baseball instead. And he signed a major league contract out of college. He signed a major league contract, a multi-year deal, before he even played a game in the minors. And he strikes out Segura, the 2nd out of the inning, on his 2nd K.
I'm going to say breaking ball because it's tough sometimes to determine between, the split-fingered fastball and the slider. There's a splitter. You don't see many split-fingered fastballs with that arm angle, kind of on the side. He has that tumbling action. It doesn't go down as much as it does just act like a changeup, more or less.
Well, that splitter is a devastating pitch. It can also be tough to corral. Aoki takes off, and the throw to second is going to be in time. Aoki cut down trying to steal second base. And that leaves Braun in the batter's box. Castillo takes care of the Brewers' leadoff hitter to end the inning.
Center, and I'm pleased to be joined now by Tim Rapay, the Executive Director of the Brewers Baseball Academy, presented by Quick Trip. Now, Tim, 2013, the inaugural season of the Academy. It will be open to kids between ages 6 and 14, 8 different week-long baseball and softball camps. What can campers expect with this year?
Well, the first thing they can expect is great baseball training. And, of course, they'll get a world-class Brewers experience. Camp runs Monday through Friday from 9 to 3, so it's a full 30 hours. And on one of the days, we have a blasters. We get on a bus. We come down here to Miller Park. We meet Coach Shelby, meet a player, and we continue our training down here. They also get full uniform. They get 4 tickets. They get a digital motion analysis of their swing, and just a week that they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
Now, like you said, it's not just basic fundamentals. Every camper will receive that video motion analysis. Tell us more about that.
Well, our job is to help these kids get better on Friday than they were on Monday. And to ignore the value of video these days would be really foolish. So we make a point of making sure that we tape everybody's swing, and we do an analysis that then gets emailed to them later on after the camp.
All right, now the important part, how do kids get signed up and how much will it cost?
Brewers.com/camps, brewers.com/camps, and it's $3.95 for the week.
All right, thank you very much, Tim Rapay, the Executive Director of the brand new Brewers Baseball Academy. Brian.
All right, Sophia, thanks. As Luis Valbuena puts the Cubs on the board, a home run to right. Valbuena with his second home run of the season makes it 4-1 Milwaukee. No doubt about that one as he goes up into the Loge level in right field.
And you see the changeup from Marco, the changeup grip. And it looked like Valbuena was waiting for it. He was right on it. And nice hit, level swing, and he knocks it out of here into that second deck.
Well, the Cubs are expecting Ian Stewart to return soon. He has been out of commission. They're everyday third baseman, but Valbuena has done a nice job for them. A couple of home runs. He's got a low batting average, but he's a good defender as well. Darwin Barney heading down at near the bottom of the Cubs order, slashes that one foul. Well, it's good to catch up with Tim Rapay. I know they've got a great thing going there, and the camps are exciting. The Baseball Academy, first ever. It's an 8-week-long camp, and all the technology that they are using.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to just going out and hitting an old tire? You know. That ball is going to stay playable for Braun, and there is out number 1.
And it's all a part of what the Brewers do on a daily basis. The video, the video coordinator Joe Crawford for the Brewers and his team down there in the clubhouse, and record every one of the Brewers at bats, all the pitchers.
There's Mike Vasallo, John Steinman. Oh, we have images of the birthday cake. Nice. And Sharon and Lorraine. Vasallo not quite worthy to be in that photograph, actually. Those are two
very hardworking ladies.
Very strong women. And which one doesn't belong? That was a good day. Enjoyed it. And he demands a little FaceTime, and he gets it.
Yes, he does. He started asking us about that about a week ago. You know, next week's my birthday.
I felt like he was buttering us up all week. He's being extremely nice.
6 days from now is my birthday.
had the whole countdown.
The countdown going, yeah. You guys need anything? Happy birthday, Mike.
Yes.
I always tell people to try and guess his age.
He's a lot older than you think.
He's a lot older than he looks.
Cubs pitcher at the plate, Jeff Samardzija. He's hitless so far this year. He's 0 for 7. But as you can imagine, for a guy who played wide receiver at Notre Dame, he's very athletic, and he is very fast. So little tappers, swinging bunts, things of that nature. You got to really get the ball to first base.
Yeah, bottom line, just don't throw him cookies down the middle like you can do to a lot of pitchers. He will hurt you. Anybody with a bat in their hand up there can hurt you if you don't make a good pitch.
And Estrada walks him. Boy, no with a lead as Estrada walked the pitcher. And a man on with one out. A run is in on a home run by Valbuena.
Only his third walk of the year. Hey, this Sunday the Brewers take on these Cubs at 1:10 p.m. and all fans in attendance get a George Scott bobblehead. Compliments of Toyota. Visit Brewers.com for tickets.
So back to the top of the order now, and David DeJesus, a strikeout victim in the first. Estrada struck him out looking. Estrada has very good command, and walks have been rare this year for Marco. So even more unusual that he walks the pitcher in an 8-pitch at bat by Samardzija. Estrada has only given up 3 walks all season, compared to 23 strikeouts at this point. DeJesus, a tough guy to double up. He runs well. And it goes to 2-0. I know managers love early runs, but there's something about a 4-run first inning or a big first inning always gives a manager a little anxiety about the rest of the game.
And you don't want anybody letting down. That's for sure. 4 runs, not a whole lot in this day and age. Just got to keep adding on.
And that ball's hit high in the air, foul. DeJesus just got out ahead of it.
And certainly the mindset of the pitcher doesn't change regardless of the score. At least not early on.
You wonder about the mindset of the Cubs hitters. They have had brutal weather the first 2 weeks of the season. Their first 14 games, I think 12 of them have been played with temperatures below 50 degrees. They've had 2 games lost because of bad weather. So they come into Miller Park and it's climate control. They get to take full batting practice. Hitters don't like the cold weather.
Well, nobody really likes the cold weather, but you know, everybody has to deal with it. I mean, back in the days before all the roofs on the stadiums, I mean, everybody had to deal with it. Milwaukee, Chicago, everybody.
It has been an unusually wet, cold spring here in the upper Midwest.
Minnesota Twins had their game snowed out today. 7 inches of snow up in Minneapolis.
Wow.
Goodness gracious.
2-2 pitch, and that one's down and in, and the count goes full now. And it'll be interesting to see if Dale Swaim will send his pitcher in a 3-2 count. DeJesus has a tendency to strike out. Has 10 Ks, which is a high number for a leadoff hitter. Just 44 at bats. Runner goes, and a high fly ball to right. DeJesus knows he's got it, and a 2-run home run. The Cubs put 3 on the board in this inning, and it's a 1-run game.
Yeah, the home run ball continues to be an issue for Marco. That's the 6th home run he's allowed this year, and 2nd tonight. And neither one of them much of a doubt whether they were going to be out of the ballpark or not. 2-seam fastball. You see the grip. You see the location. Middle in. It was supposed to be on the outside corner. Ended up on the inner half, and same result. Out of here.
3-run inning for the Cubs. Home runs from Valbuena and DeJesus. 2 of the 4 lefties in the lineup. Still just 1 out. Here's Castro now. 2-1. Castro, a strikeout victim his first time up. Now in his fourth year in the big leagues. And still just 23 years of age. He's the same age as Gene Segura, the Brewer shortstop. Think about that. And a base hit to right. That's a third hit for the Cubs in this inning, the fourth base runner of the inning. And now Estrada drifting into some of the power hitters. That's going to bring a visit from Rick Kranitz out of the Brewers dugout, the pitching coach.
Yeah, just not very good location with his fastball tonight. He's missing badly on the fastball on a number of occasions, and the Cubs, every time he does miss, are hitting it hard. Yeah, 4 hits now for Chicago, 3 of them coming in this inning. 2-1 fastball and getting a lot of the plate, and Castro, a very good hitter, hits that one hard into right field.
Well, that base hit by Castro extends his hitting streak to 11 games. Estrada has always been prone in his career as a starting pitcher to give up a big inning. And we've seen it on a number of occasions when he has given up a big inning. He's come back and settled down. You're hoping he can do that tonight. Brewers gave him 4 runs in the first. The Cubs have scored 3 here in the third. And the power coming up. Here's Anthony Rizzo now. He pulls it to Bencourt. Nice pick. Throw to second for 1. Segura's return in time. And just like that, a double play to get Estrada out of the inning. And more slick defense by Uni B. 3-6-3 double play. 4-3 Brewers.
Go Giants, getting some much needed momentum after a hard week in Chicago and St. Louis. Let's take a look at our AT&T Twitter poll. What impressed you the most about the Brewers sweep over the Giants? You know our handle at FS Wisconsin. Use one of the hashtags you see. Was it the bottom of the order, especially Carlos Gomez or Uni B, the Brewers bullpen, which recorded 2 saves, or their clutch hitting? Brian finally knocking in those runs with runners in scoring position.
Well, they've had a good series so far as Braun bounces out to start this third inning. And it was a great first inning tonight, and we'll see if the Brewers can get it going here. Samardzija is one of those pitchers, Rock, who can settle in, and he's one of those guys that brings no-hit type stuff to the ballpark every night.
Now you saw him start to dial it in at the end of that first inning where Lucroy had the triple. He was at third base with nobody out and able to retire the side without Lucroy being able to score. That could come out to be a big point in this ball game, that extra run that the Brewers might have had.
Now, Samardzija has retired 6 of the last 7. Ricky Weeks had a double in the first inning. Dropped it in a perfect spot between the 3 Cubs players on the right side. Shearholtz, Barney, and Rizzo. And credit Weeks, he was hustling all the way, which you love to see. Hustled his way to a double back in the first inning, and then he scored on Lucroy's triple. Two balls and a strike on Weeks, and it goes to 2-2.
That's turning into a pretty good pitch, that split finger fastball.
Samardzia's splitter gets a lot of swings and misses. He also leads the National League in wild pitches already, so that comes into play when men are on base. And he'll certainly keep a catcher on his toes.
Well, you know you're going to be busy when Samardzia's out on the mound. You know that, going in. When he's good, he's going to be down in the zone and bouncing pitches with 2 strikes.
Ricky Weeks, and he goes. Unable to check his swing, says Tom Hallion. And Weeks, who thought he had drawn a walk, is a strikeout victim here. Strikeout number 3 for Samardzia.
You see Tom Hallion taking a look at it, pretty close, but first base umpire waiting to be asked and rings him up. Well, you can see why he called him out.
So 2 men are out. 2 up, 2 down for Jeff Samardzia, and that'll bring up Jonathan Lucroy. Cubs feel pretty good about their starting pitching this season. They are going to get better when Matt Garza returns. Garza will begin a rehab assignment in Single A today. I think he's expected to throw a couple of innings in Kane County, which is not too far from Chicago. I'm not sure how the weather is affecting that game, but Garza has a pulled lat muscle, which he did in spring training. And it's been a long recovery for him. But they get Garza back. You've got Garza and Samardzia, Edwin Jackson. And a lot of strikeouts in those 3 pitchers. Travis Wood, the left-hander in that starting rotation. There's Matt Garza. So I guess his game in Kane County didn't happen tonight since he's in the dugout. Lucroy into right center. Long run, Shearholtz, and he's got it for the out. And a 1-2-3 inning for Samardzia. 4-3 Brewers. The Cubs are coming up. We head to the 4th. Wrigley, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Brewers Cubs, game 1 of this 3-game series. As we take a look at our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. Freaky fast reactions from Marco Estrada as he snares the line drive. Turns it into a double play. That was back in the 2nd inning, robbing Nate Shearholtz of a base hit.
Yeah, 2 double plays turned by the Brewers already in this game.
Now the Cubs get 3 runs in the 3rd inning on 3 hits, 2 homers in that inning. After the Brewers scored 4 in the 1st. Scored 4 runs before there was an out in the 1st inning. Alfonso Soriano now, who singled in the 2nd. And he was the man doubled up on that Shearholtz line drive. He was running with the pitch.
Yeah, Soriano has his batting average in a decent spot, but hit his first home run yesterday, and that was his first RBI. Has not been driving in any runs so far this year.
Had a similar start to the season last year. Soriano had a very slow start, but he ended up as one of the top run producers in the National League last season. One of the moves Dale Swaim made when he took over as manager of the Cubs, he elevated Soriano in the lineup, if not for nothing else, for his confidence. And Soriano responded with a big year last year. Tom Hallion says he's able to check his swing. Soriano drove in 108 runs last year. He hit .262 with 32 home runs and 108 driven in.
Yeah, that's one thing that Dale Swaim did when he first became manager. He told Soriano, look, I need you in the lineup. I need you to be productive. You're going to be my cleanup hitter, and you're going to stay there. So get the job done. And he responded for him. Soriano had been hitting as low as 7th for the Cubs before Swaim took over.
That ball's hit hard to right. That is trouble. Aoki in the corner, and it's down for a base hit. And Soriano is into second base with a double. So a 2-strike hit yet again against Marco Estrada, and a double starts the 4th inning for the Cubs.
Yeah, the 4-seam fastball. Lucroy wanted it away. You could see it leak back over the heart of the plate. So Marco having a tough time with his location tonight. And not just with the fastball, but that changeup too has been up in the strike zone. And just barely sneaks it inside that right field line down in the corner.
And the Cubs put the tying run at second base to start this 4th inning for Nate Shearholtz. Little changeup off the end of the bat. Gonzalez, nice play, and just does get the out. That ball had a lot of English on it. And Gonzalez able to cut it off with the modified shift on defensively.
And just as importantly, little cue shot off the end of the bat holds Siriano at second base. See Segura and Marco heading over to third base to cover to make sure he stayed there.
So 1 gone with a runner at second for the Cubs catcher Wellington Castillo. Castillo, his last time up, bounced out to third base. A pickoff play. Unsuccessful, but Weeks able to get enough of it to keep it in the infield. Estrada, who has racked up a bunch of strikeouts this season, could use one here. And time is called. Well, Estrada was already into his motion. Coaches always encourage pitchers just to follow through. Just throw it to the screen if you want.
Yeah.
It's a dead ball, as opposed to try to stop down. But there's something instinctually that tells you not to do it.
Right. Well, sometimes you can, get hurt. You can tweak a muscle when you try and stop that delivery like that.
Castillo is a free swinger at the plate. As we mentioned, the Cubs a team that typically don't walk much as a group. Castillo's always up there ready to hack. Well, the Cubs last year traded away Giovanni Soto, a former Rookie of the Year for the Cubs. Back in the 2008 season, that cleared the path for Castillo to be their everyday catcher. In the air to center field, sounded like it was off the end of the bat, and Gomez hauls it in for out number 2.
And Marco just kept going with that curveball. I guess perhaps first base was open, maybe set up the double play, but on a 2-0 pitch, he's able to get him on a curveball off the end of the bat. Good job.
So 2 men are out, and here comes Valbuena, who put the Cubs on the board his last time up. He hit a home run to right. Started a 3-run inning for Chicago. It is going to be interesting to see what the Cubs do when Ian Stewart returns. He's been out since spring training with a left quad strain. Injured that leg in the final week of spring training.
Cubs haven't had any problems making player moves even as early as this year. It's been 3 weeks and they made a number of them. A couple of position players. They picked up a pitcher. All since the Brewers were in Chicago.
Right. We saw the Cubs just last week. They had 2 players playing second base, Gonzalez and Lillibridge, and neither one of those 2 are still with the Cubs.
Picked up Cody Ransom, Julio Bourbon, both infielders, and they have Kevin Gregg, former closer in the big leagues, in their bullpen, and Cameron Lowe, former Milwaukee Brewer.
Yeah, they signed Lowe after he was released by the Seattle Mariners. Not afraid to change it up. There's Cameron Lowe, reunited with Dale Swaim. Cubs have had all kind of trouble in their bullpen. Carlos Marmol lost his closer's job, and then the man who replaced him, Kyuji Fujikawa, is on the disabled list now with a forearm strain. Here's the 2-1. Valbuena takes a strike. Well placed fastball from Marco Estrada, and it's 2-2. Two outs in the inning. Marco trying to work around a leadoff double by Soriano, who has 2 hits today. Still at second base. And he hit him. Estrada hits Valbuena on a 2-strike pitch.
The second time that Estrada has tried to come inside. You remember early in the game, Rizzo nearly got hit with one. And that one not even close. Valbuena no chance to get out of the way of this pitch. And gets him on the hip. or out of the stomach, perhaps. Location issues for Marco tonight. And when you're a control pitcher, that's not good news.
Yeah, it's one thing to be wild out of the strike zone, but wild in the strike zone can do just as much damage. So here is Darwin Barney now. He's playing in just his third game. Rock mentioned that gash he had on his knee. He did that in the final exhibition game down in Houston and opened up a severe wound across the kneecap. It required stitches. It was right on the bend of the knee too, so every time Barney thought he was getting closer to returning to the field, he kept opening up the wound again. So they finally got it healed up properly, and he's playing in just his third game. He's 0 for 9 to start the season. And it's 3 balls and no strikes. Well, 2 pitchers that go about it much differently. Marco Estrada and Jeff Samardzija, the charter high-speed pitch. Samardzija at 97 already today. Estrada topping out at 91 so far. Samardzija's due next. 2 on, 2 out, and a 3-0 count. There's strike 1.
You can miss your spots every now and again when you're throwing 97. Not so much at 91.
Barney hit .254 last year. Got to be careful with this pitch. And it's ball 4. So Marco Estrada, who showed very good command in his first couple of starts, walking just 2 batters, has already issued 3 walks tonight, and all 3 of those walks coming down at the bottom of the order, the last 3 hitters in the order. I beg your pardon, a hit batter and 2 walks. Samardzija walked his first time up. Bases loaded, 2 outs. And it skips away. Lucroy won't make a throw. Soriano made a break for the plate.
Man, with the pitcher up, he's thinking he's going to take an opportunity if that ball gets away to score. Lucroy backhands it. Nearly got by him, but Soriano was thinking about scoring a run. Taking extra chances at third base with the pitcher at the plate.
Oh, a grinder of an inning here for Estrada, giving up 3 runs last inning. He does have 2 outs and the pitcher at the plate, but the Cubs have loaded it up. Two and 1 now. Estrada deals. Samardzija, big swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Estrada a chance to get out of it. Here's a 2-2 and a called strike 3. Estrada finds the corner that time. Strands the bases loaded. He's working hard tonight. 4-3 Brewers. We remind you that every game day, Brewers Community Foundation will again feature our 50-50 raffle. 50-50 sellers will be in the parking lots and inside the stadium selling $2 tickets until the 4th inning. So you can check the scoreboard just before the famous racing sausages to see if you take home half the pot. Proceeds from the 50-50 raffle support nonprofit organizations, all courtesy of the Brewers Community Foundation. Brewers by a run as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Alex Gonzalez breaks his bat and a fly ball out to center field. 1 pitch, 1 out for Jeff Samardzija in the 4th. Our Carsoup.com email the booth question today comes from Steve in East Troy. He wants to know, do teams have a mental advantage when having past success against a certain team or player?
And, winning and, successful, at-bats or pitching performances, have all to do with confidence. And, if you feel you have an edge, or if you're a hitter and you have an edge over a certain pitcher, you just have a good feeling going up there at the plate. You're confident. I think it certainly is an advantage to you. On the flip side of that, certain pitchers just do not like facing certain teams in general. I'm not sure why that would be, why a team would have an advantage over a pitcher. But confidence is a big part of this ball game. As much failure as there is in this game, you've got to be able to handle it. If you're a hitter, and I know it's an old broken, old saying that is used over and over again. 3 out of 10 and you're a Hall of Famer. What do you do in the other 7 times you're up? What goes through your head? What are you telling yourself? What are you saying to yourself? What are you doing to get better? So if you're able to get rid of all the negatives, that's the biggest part of this game.
Gomez pops this one up shallow center field, and De Jesus runs this one down for the 2nd out.
And I know when I was playing, there were certain ballparks that I just did not feel comfortable hitting in, and that was Detroit. Old Tiger Stadium was one of those. I felt like the pitcher was right on top of you, and of course that had something to do with that pitching staff that they had. Jack Morris and Dan Petrie and those guys. But Seattle, on the other hand, they had a good pitching staff, and I felt good hitting in the Kingdome. It's just one of those things. It's different for every player. And when you go into one of those ballparks where you've had a lot of success, you just feel as though you're going to have a good series.
You hit on it, though, right? Confidence is so important in this game. All of these players here, you make it to the big leagues, you have talent, and you have emerged as one of the best players, whatever team you've been on. But it is a mental grinder once you get to the major leagues.
That's the big difference between guys that go in slumps. 0 for 13 is a horrendous slump for Ryan Braun. But, that's commonplace for most guys. Most guys are going to go through that a couple times a year.
Bouncing ball to short. Here's Castro with a nice play. And Samardzija seems like he has locked it down. Another 3-up, 3-down inning. Up here, 4 innings in the books. Ryan Braun started it with a bang tonight, a 3-run home run in the first inning. Brewers scored 4 in the first, but the Cubs answer with 3 in the top of the third. It was a home run by Valbuena and De Jesus. De Jesus hit a 2-run home run. So 3 home runs in this game. Ryan Braun has first inning home runs in each of the last 2 games. Gives him 4 home runs for the season, and now 12 runs batted in. And it's 4-3 Milwaukee as we head to the 5th.
Now it's been a grinder the last couple of innings for Marco Estrada, trying to work through, a night where he really doesn't have as good command. Having a tough time locating his off-speed pitches. His fastball's been leaking over the plate, but still here he is in the 5th with the lead. Sometimes you're going to have nights like that. You got to work through it.
We were just checking the news between innings, and the Boston police have apprehended the final suspect in the bombing at the Boston Marathon, and just reminds us how appreciative we are to all of those who serve us, keep us safe, all the police officers here and rescue teams, and they did a fantastic job.
They put themselves in harm's way all the time, and that's incredible police work that they did up in Boston last couple of days, man.
Now the Red Sox game was postponed tonight with the Royals, as that city was on lockdown, that area, that community, Watertown, and they've apprehended the suspect, and we tip our hat to the federal agents and all of the police officers and security personnel involved. Ricky Weeks, nice play, can't get it out of his glove, and De Jesus, who runs well, will beat it out for his second hit. That'll be an infield hit.
De Jesus off to a very good start for the Cubs in that leadoff spot. The first 2 guys have been red hot for the Cubs coming out of the chute. I'm not sure even if Ricky gets that ball out of his glove the first time, he's going to be able to get enough on the throw to get De Jesus, who runs very well.
So the Cubs now with 6 hits. De Jesus has 2 of them. Had a 2-run homer in the third. Now he's aboard. He's a base stealer. And here's Starlin Castro, who singled his last time up. Well, Castro singled to right back in the 3rd inning. Had a strikeout his first time up. Marco with 3 strikeouts. He's walked 2 batters. He's hit a batter and has allowed 6 hits. His signature pitch, the changeup.
Maybe going to miss up in the strike zone with a changeup. You better put it where Marco just did, on the outside corner. Leave that pitch middle in, and hitter's going to get a pretty good swing at it and hit it hard. Normally a hitter's going to be out in front of a changeup. You put it away, you're in pretty good shape. Inside, not so much.
Bouncing ball, Segura to second for 1. Weeks the turn and a double play. So 2 quick outs. The 3rd double play for the Brewers tonight. That one goes 6-4-3.
And Segura doing a nice job with a little shuffle pass over to Ricky Weeks right on the bag, and they get Castro easily at first base. Double play has been the friend of Marco tonight. He's got him out of some jams.
3 in the last 4 innings for Estrada. Base is empty now with 2 away for Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo just 23 years of age. Interesting how he has bounced around already in his career. He's kind of followed Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer, now the president and general manager of the Cubs. Those two were together in Boston, and Rizzo was a big prospect in the Red Sox system when they were in Boston. And then Jed Hoyer got the GM job in San Diego, and he was part of the Adrian Gonzalez deal that sent Gonzalez from the Padres to the Red Sox. And then when Hoyer and Theo Epstein were reunited in Chicago, they were able to bring him over to the Cubs.
Hey, residents of Milwaukee, Ozaki, Racine, Washington, and Waukesha counties, you can purchase half-price tickets to Brewers games against the Pirates and Cardinals April 29th through May 3rd. Save 50% on tickets at brewers.com/5county.
Count remains at 3-2 on Rizzo. The payoff pitch jammed him. That's back in the seats. Estrada's throwing the kitchen sink at him. Keeps fouling him away. They could use a nice quick inning. 2 outs, nobody on, and they'll have to reset. Estrada likes to work fast when nobody is on base behind him. Things slow down a little bit when he goes in the stretch with runners aboard.
And more deliberate, may perhaps want to freeze the runner on first base.
Lucroy with the stickers on his fingernails so pitcher can see the signs. Out in front, and that one is going to be in the front row. Nice catch down there by a member of the grounds crew. Speaking of guys ready for some sunshine, the grounds crew here trying to keep this grass in shape. That's nicely done.
And nothing to it.
10th pitch of the at bat, and Rizzo fouls another one off. Estrada's pitch count is now at 87 as we play here in the 5th inning.
It's amazing that the ground crew has been able to keep this grass as green as it is. Given the weather we've had around here, that's just an incredible job by those guys.
Rizzo finally puts one between the lines, and a 10-pitch battle is won by Marco Estrada. He is through 5 with the lead. Brewers coming to bat. And Marco Estrada surviving tonight on the strength of 3 double plays. He started the first one, Betancourt to Segura back to UniB. That was in the 4th inning, and then this one here in the 5th. 6-4-3 double play, helping Marco Estrada, getting 2 outs on 3 occasions with 1 swing of the bat.
The second time on his homestand that Betancourt has been able to turn that 3-6-3 double play.
And Estrada will lead off against Samardzija. Samardzija has retired 7 in a row, and 11 of his last 12 batters faced. The only man who reached in that stretch was Nori Aoki, who singled, and he was wiped out trying to steal second base. So Samardzija has faced the minimum since Lucroy tripled home Ricky Weeks in the first. Right off the end of the bat, Rizzo to Samardzija. Speaking of UniB, his defense has been on display on Sunday against St. Louis, playing third base for Alex Gonzalez. And then in the Giants series, had a couple of nice defensive plays as well.
And look at how quickly he gets that ball off to second base and able to get back to the bag. There's a nice diving play in the hole for an out for Yvonne Gallardo. And here's tonight. Perfect throws over to Segura and able to find the bag and take the throw. And something that you take for granted, you know, day in and day out in the big leagues. For a guy that's never done it before, he's done a pretty good job.
I like what you said in the Brewers Live pregame show. The Brewers have essentially 3 shortstops playing in the infield, Betancourt being one of those, and it's kind of like having the all-hands team on the kickoff group.
On the onside kick, right? 3 shortstops. You can't ask for any better defense than that, right?
Sporting the Mohawk UniB.
You see Kosuke has it too?
Oh, the
interpreter?
Japanese interpreter for the Brewers.
Kosuke Najee, he's got the Mohawk.
Nice. I doubt Nori went that direction.
Oh, he did. I said, did you lose a bet? He said, what are you talking about?
He wanted that.
I think I offended him. I took it back quickly. I said, no, it looks great. There he is.
There's Kosuke. We got to get him to lose the lid. He is in deep concentration over there.
I've been going to him every day for the scouting report. You know, we talked about this a lot. He's the guy that has to translate Johnny Naren's scouting report on the starting pitchers to Nori Aoki in Japanese. Every now and again, I'll give Johnny a day off, you know, talking about the starting pitcher of the day, and go to Kosuke.
Give Johnny a day off from Rock.
Yeah, right.
And Kosuke gets the. Does he give it to you in Japanese, or does he translate it for you?
No, he translates very well in English.
So you're making him translate it twice.
Yeah. Well, he's got to know these things. I said that does he have a good move? He says, a decent move. He's got to know that too, because Nori's a base stealer.
That's right. Good point. 3-2 to Aoki. And Rizzo race to the bag. Samardzija just does beat him. Well, we're talking about the defense of Uni Betancourt. And Sophia had a chance to visit with him. Sophia speaks fluent Spanish, and we don't get a chance to hear from Uni Betancourt that often. And Sophia, what did he have to say today about his improved defense?
Well, moving to first base for the first time, he's one of 4 Brewers to make his debut at first base just this season alone. And talking to him about the position change, he said every day he's just feeling more comfortable. It's something he's been working on a lot in practice, just getting a lot of balls and repetitions at the position. He said the toughest part for him has just been working on the throws where he has to come out of the stretch, but he said every day he's just feeling more comfortable.
All right, thank you, Sophia. The final out made. Betancourt back to his defensive position as we go to the 6th inning. He is presented by authority of the Brewers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers. Hey, it looks like the Blues brothers are here. That guy kind of looks like you, Rock. A young Bill Schroeder on the right.
Which one are you talking about? All the way to the right?
Miller Lite, what's on tap? Hiram Burgos will get the start tomorrow for the Brewers, coming up from AAA Nashville. They'll match up against Edwin Jackson, and it'll be Burgos' first start in the major leagues.
He looked very good in spring training. You talking about this guy right here?
Yeah, that's a young Bill Schroeder.
You think, huh?
He's got the fedora on and everything. He's got a beer in his hand.
Yeah, one fewer pitcher down in the bullpen for the Brewers. Mike Fiers sent down today. Work on some things down in the minor leagues. Hiram Burgos. Anxious to see what he can do tomorrow. You know, Burgos and Estrada, very similar styles. Ron Renicky typically doesn't like to do that. But really no choice.
Now, Burgos was pitching well this spring. He actually pitched for Team Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic and did a nice job for them. And I wonder if Renicky will have Maldonado behind the plate tomorrow. He's very familiar with Maldonado, of course, and that's what he did for Mike Fiers' first start last season. As you see the starting pitcher comparisons. Soriano knocked down by Segura, but Soriano is aboard with his third hit of the ball game. 2 singles and a double. And another leadoff base runner for the Cubs.
Yeah, making good solid contact tonight. Soriano's been swinging the bat well. Again, not for power. Average over 300. Hits that one right on the nose. Segura, if he keeps it in the glove, has a play. Does a good job just knocking it down.
And that is the 5th consecutive inning that the Cubs have put their leadoff man aboard. Soriano has been responsible for 3 of those. Little half swing, he goes. Shearholtz unable to check his swing. There's Burke Badenhop loosening in the Brewers bullpen. Tying run at first for the Cubs. We play in the 6th. And a good block by Lucroy keeps the double play intact.
That's been a focus of Jonathan's over the offseason, and even started last year, where he really has made a commitment to doing a better job of blocking balls in the dirt, and he continues to square up those shoulders. See the way he throws that right shoulder around trying to square it up, and it drops right down in front of him. That's how you keep the double play in order.
Brewers have 3 double plays on the board tonight. And when the Cubs put their leadoff man on in 5 of the 6 innings, those double plays go a long way. Estrada's coming up to the end of his night. You saw Badenhop loosening. Marco at 95 pitches. You know, Renicky would love to get him through this 6th inning. He's got Shearholtz at the plate. Wellington Castillo on deck. And Soriano takes off, and a bouncing ball to second. Ricky Weeks has only 1 play. By sending the runner, the Cubs stay out of a double play. And the tying run in scoring position as we send it down to Sophia for an update on the farm.
Well, Cody Hahn making some noise in Class A. Last night as the designated hitter, he went 3 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs. The Manatees won that one 5-2 in Clearwater, and Hahn now has 2 home runs and 7 RBIs on the season, guys.
All right, Sophia, thanks. Good start for Cody Hahn. Plenty of sunshine in the Florida State League. Not the case the other A-ball team in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers up in Appleton. They were postponed again tonight in Clinton. One gone. Here is Castillo. A big swing and a miss.
What's that, 7 rainouts for him now?
I don't think they can make all those games up. They'll have as many double headers as they can squeeze into the schedule, but 7 rainouts. The Midwest League is just getting crushed with weather. Number of games postponed in the big leagues. Boston and Kansas City postponed because of the lockdown in Boston. As far as weather goes, weather got the Orioles and the Dodgers tonight. And the White Sox and the Twins in Chicago postponed.
Snow. 8 inches in Minneapolis yesterday.
Too miserable to play baseball.
I mean, 8 inches of snow, and we're in the latter part of April here.
Yeah, think about that front when it came through Denver and all that snow in the Mile High City, which cost him a couple of games.
A little bit of snow here in Milwaukee, but it didn't last. That's kind of what you would expect if you're going to get bad weather this time of year. But 8 inches.
You don't expect to break out the snowblower this time of year, right?
Crazy.
I still got mine in the go position, by the way. Normally I've put it away for the season, but it's all lined up.
It's all set for Michelle to break out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not even sure she knows we have a snowblower.
Yeah. Just magically disappears off the driveway.
Exactly. A swing and a miss, and Estrada just a steady diet of breaking balls against Castillo. And he strikes him out for the second out of the inning.
You see Marco just continue to try and get that pitch to work for him, and he gets a big out on it.
Oh, beg your pardon, that was the changeup.
Well located. Look at it, down in the strike zone, and he gets the big swing over the top, and Marco with a big out. He'd love to be able to get through this 6th inning.
Well, Rick Kranitz is on his way out. Maybe have a chat here. Valbuena went deep against Estrada in the 3rd inning. There is a base open at first and a right-handed hitter up next. Not sure how that plays into Kranitz's thought process here. Seems like Estrada's had a tough time with Valbuena. He gave up that home run to him in the 3rd inning and then got him to 2 strikes in the 4th, but ended up hitting him.
Well, he didn't want to leave one out over the plate. It was a pitch out away from him, outer half, that he was able to hook out of here in the 2nd deck and right. Didn't want to allow him to get his arms extended and got it too far inside.
Two gone, tying run at 2nd. Estrada trying to get the Brewers to the dugout here and finish off a 6-inning start. This will no doubt be his last hitter.
He gets through this out. I think that's a pretty good job by Marco with not his best stuff tonight.
He's had a lot of runners on behind him. Has been helped by 3 double plays. There's a change-up strike, a dandy. 1-1 to Valbuena. Estrada stranded, the bases loaded. He struck out the pitcher, Jeff Samardzija, with the bases full in the 4th. Big hitter for him here. The 1-1 upstairs, 2-1. It's the most pitches Estrada has thrown this season. His previous high was 100 against the Cubs in 7 innings back on the 8th of April. That was his lone win of the season. Valbuena to left. Ryan Braun right there. He's got it, and Marco Estrada grinds his way through 6 innings. He'll exit with the lead. 4-3 Brewers. Braun leads off. He could be done for the night. Don't forget that tomorrow Fox Saturday Baseball returns. 3 matchups. You've got the Twins and the White Sox, weather permitting. Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers taking on Mike Trout and the Angels is the other option, or the Nationals against the Mets in New York. Check your local listings. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Chevrolet returns tomorrow 1:30 p.m. Central. Well, the Mets have a rising star in right-handed pitcher Matt Harvey. Well, he is quickly becoming the face of that franchise, at least from a pitching perspective. On the mound tonight for New York. Here's Ryan Braun to start it. Bottom of the 6th inning. Brewers scored 4 in the first before there was an out. And Braun was a big part of it. Had a 3-run home run. Mets are playing the Nationals tonight. Matt Harvey against Steven Strasburg. What a great pitching matchup of young stars.
Yeah, last year all of baseball was talking about R.A. Dickey. This year for the Mets, it's Harvey. R.A. Dickey having a rough time over there in Toronto.
Yeah, traded to Toronto. Had to leave yesterday's game with an injury. Not expected to miss his next start. After he pitched 6 innings yesterday, the knuckleballer. Now the Mets lead the National. Actually, they beat them today 7-1. Harvey is now 4-0. He's 4-0 with a 0.93 earned run average in his first 4 starts. Went 7 innings tonight. 7 strikeouts. Strasburg went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, but he takes the loss. He's 1-3.
Yeah, Samardzija not very pleased with that last call by the home plate umpire, and Dale Swain going to come out. Samardzija thought that last pitch was a strike and wasn't afraid to let Chris Guccione know about it.
And out he goes, arguing balls and strikes. Swain is getting his money's worth now.
Now he's saying to the home plate umpire that you're taunting my pitcher. All he's doing is looking in. You take your mask off and start staring him down. I think that's what Dale's upset about.
Now the crew chief, Tom Hallion, comes over, and Swain nose to nose with Chris Guccione. And Swain, the former Brewer, is out of this game.
There you see Chris Guccione taking his mask off, staring down the pitcher, Samardzija. I don't know who said what, but Wellington Castillo felt the obligation to get between his pitcher and the umpire. I guess that Chris Guccione can read lips. I know I can.
Well, his manager is gone, Dale Swain, as Samardzija stays in the game.
Yeah, and that's what a manager has to do when he has a fired up pitcher out there. It's either the manager or the pitcher that's going to go, and it's always better to have a coach or a manager sit one out than the pitcher.
A long battle here between Braun and Samardzija to start this bottom of the 6th inning. Samardzija has been very efficient since the 1st inning. Bouncing ball. That is a fair ball. Tough play. Valbuena with a great arm. Guns down Ryan Braun.
He does have a cannon over there. Wow. They made that throw look easy. That's how far behind the bag he takes his throw. Actually in foul territory, and a rocket over to first. And getting Braun by plenty.
There's Jamie Quirk, another former Brewer on Dale Swaim's staff. He'll take over as the acting manager. He and Chris Bosio, the pitching coach, will handle the rest of this game.
And I guess if he gets thrown out, what do you got? Rob Deere to manage the ball club?
All former Brewers.
How far down on the depth chart is Rooster?
Yeah, Rob Deere, Jamie Quirk, Bosio, and of course Dale Swaim.
Yep. Rob Deere, the assistant hitting coach, he has the same responsibilities that John Shelby holds with the Brewers. A lot of teams are going to the assistant hitting coach.
I know the Braves do it. Scott Fletcher is in that role. Half swing, he goes, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, it allows the hitting coach to stay in the dugout. Ordinarily, the hitting coach will go up there and maybe throw soft toss to guys that are going to be coming off the bench. Maybe throw some batting practice in the cage. Hitting coach can now stay in the dugout. The assistant coach does that, amongst other things.
I was thinking about Rob Deere and of course you and Dale Swaim, all part of that Team Streak ball club, and this is the anniversary of that famous home run by Dale Swaim, that Easter home run, Easter Sunday, '87. What was that, number 12 in a row, right?
12 in a row, yep.
Ended up winning 13 straight
against the Texas Rangers.
In tight, Weeks draws the walk. And the Brewers with a base runner, snaps a long run for Samardzija. First base runner since the 2nd inning on Aoki's single. Well, the Powerball home run leaderboard is updated, and Braun is at the top once again. The National League leader in home runs last year at 41, has 4 after his first inning clout. Aoki, Betancourt, and Lucroy with 2 apiece.
Yeah, Brewers have held their own in that department without Corey Hart and Ramos Ramirez. I just can't wait to get those 2 guys back.
And Ramirez will be in a week to 10 days. Corey Hart will be at the end of May. So end of April, end of May. Ramirez out with a knee injury that did not require surgery. A sprained left knee.
You see Corey Hart in the clubhouse the other day? Boy, he looks in great shape.
Yes, he does.
Boy, upper body very strong, and
he said something that was interesting. You can help decipher. He said, "I'm waiting on my quad to start firing. Once my quad fires, I'm good to go." That's
does that mean being able to run fast?
I guess. I don't know.
I would have no idea what that meant.
Because he had knee surgery.
Right.
And obviously there was a little atrophy there while he was unable to do anything. But I love the way he described it. Some guys say, "Hey, I'm getting better. I'll be back soon." He says, "I'm waiting for my quad to fire."
That can mean a lot of different things.
Guys, anything you're waiting to fire, Rock?
Guys are real technical these days, right?
Oh, I started to think about all the things that I'm waiting on to fire. Yeah. And the list just got too long.
Walk into a coffee table at home and got a bad contusion instead of a bruise. No, I've got nothing waiting to fire. It's all been fired.
That's for sure.
It's all been fired.
And Lucroy, he swings, and that's going to be a strikeout, even though he was hit by a pitch. Lucroy swings through it, which counts first, and that'll be a K for Samardzija. That's a double whammy for a hitter.
Well, you don't see Lucroy do that very much. That gives you an idea how that pitch just moves from Samardzija. They had 2-seamer that started on the inside corner and almost looked like it hit him, but he swung at it. It's not something you see from Lucroy very much. They got him on the right arm.
Not only a swing and a miss, but you get drilled in the arm by a big fastball from Samardzija. So 2 men are out now. And here is Ricky Weeks at first. They'll check on him with Gonzalez at the plate. Weeks looked like he wanted to run during the Lucroy at bat. We'll see if he takes off here. Samardzija thinks so. Alex Gonzalez is 0 for 2. A ground out and a fly ball out. Not much going on for the Brewers offensively since the 4-run first. And all of those runs came before the first out was recorded. There were 4 hits in that inning and an error. Just a hit and a walk since that time.
And this might be the last inning for Jeff Samardzija. His spot's due up second. Top of the 7th inning. Pitch count's pretty good at 88 right now. And the Brewers will be glad to see that bullpen come into the game.
Yeah, that has been an area of concern for the Cubs. Their bullpen. No balls, 2 strikes. Gonzalez, caught by Rizzo. And the side is retired. Rizzo makes a nice play. If that ball gets by him, there's a chance it gets in the corner and Weeks could score, but not to be. Nice catch. The Wisconsin Lottery reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Brewers Cubs first matchup between these two teams at Miller Park. These two teams split a 2-game series in Chicago last week. And Estrada is out. Brewers go to their bullpen. John Axford is in for the Brewers, trying to hold a 1-run lead in the 7th inning.
Yeah, the Brewers bullpen has been very good in the last 6 games. A 153 earned run average. That covers 17 2/3 innings. They've only allowed 3 runs, and John Axford certainly has played a part in that. He's thrown the baseball pretty well his last 2 appearances. 8th appearance overall for John. Gave up 4 home runs all early. His curveball's been better, and he's been able to, throw strikes with the fastball.
Well, the former closer trying to earn his way back into that role. Henderson's done a nice job closing games, and in Axford's credit, he said, I hope Henderson takes the job and never gives it up, because we'll be a better team with a lockdown closer, and he should know. At one point, John Axford had 49 consecutive saves in the major leagues, the 4th longest streak in the history of the game. Starts Darwin Barney with strike 1. Axford pitching in back-to-back games. Yesterday struck out Pablo Sandoval and Hunter Pence, working a perfect 8th inning against the Giants.
And as I just mentioned, I mean, his curveball has been much more consistent. He's throwing a few sliders, mixing that pitch in along with the curveball, keeping hitters a little bit more off of his fastball. Something that did not happen earlier in the season.
Oh, 0-2 the count on Darwin Barney. And did he foul that pitch off? Or is that just a ball? I couldn't tell.
In the dirt and off Jonathan Lucroy.
That was the noise I heard. Not the bat, but Lucroy. I thought Barney went all Yogi Berra on us for a minute.
Right off the shoulder.
So it's 1-2. Axford will have Barney and then the pitcher spot, and it'll be interesting to see if the Cubs stick with Samardzija in a 1-run game. I guess it all depends on what Barney does here. And then back to the top of the order into Jesus. 2-2 pitch and a bouncer foul. Samardzija certainly pitching well, and his pitch count is in good shape. His offense has gotten him back in it. 2 big innings in this game. A 4-run Brewer first, a 3-run Cubs third. Bouncer, and it's off the glove of Gonzalez. Nobody at second base. Axford covers, and that'll keep Barney at first. Now Segura was deep in the hole. I think Gonzalez felt like if he didn't get there, no one was going to be able to make that play, and it will go as an infield hit.
Yeah, 6 innings now. The Cubs have been able to put their leadoff hitter aboard. That's an amazing stretch. And they've only been able to score in 1 of those innings. The Brewers have been dodging bullets all night in that department.
Yeah, 3 double plays have helped. Cubs had a runner at second base with 1 out last inning and couldn't score. They've stranded 4.
Ideal scenario for the Cubs. You allow Samardzija to stay in the ball game. Remember, his pitch count's in decent shape, throwing well, and he's able to stay in the game and drop down a bunt.
Samardzija does not have a sacrifice bunt this season, but a guy who handles the bat pretty well. And he bunts that one foul.
This is not an easy guy to bunt on, John Axford.
A couple of fighting Irish matching up here. John Axford spent some time at Notre Dame. He's a couple of years older than Samardzija. Samardzija, a 2-sport star for the Fighting Irish.
I would imagine a 6'5" wide receiver that can run would be pretty successful in college. And he was.
Well, on the gridiron, Samardzija set a school record for receptions and touchdowns in a single season. Back in 06, he was a first-team All-America selection. Very accomplished football player. There's strike 2. And a lot of big leaguers from Notre Dame, but none more popular than Craig Counsell. Who, by the way, is not on the Brewers Live pre- and post-game show, and in some serious question about his contributions tonight. There's a bunt. It's a good one. Axford will go to first. And a perfectly executed sacrifice bunt advances Barney the tying run to second base. So Axford with a runner at second and one out. Top of the order, here is DeJesus. Cubs have been threatening. They had a runner in scoring position. Matter of fact, had the bases loaded in the fourth. Had a leadoff base runner reach in the fifth. Had a man at second last inning. And yet the Brewers still able to keep the lead through all of that. DeJesus hit a 2-run home run in the third. He gave him the heat, and it's 0-2 on DeJesus. Infield hit for Barney to start the inning. Brewers scored 4 in the first, the Cubs 3 in the third, and here we sit in the seventh with the Brewers leading by a run. DeJesus with 2 hits tonight. Nice block by Lucroy, and Barney has to hold his ground at second base.
You start taking that stuff for granted for Lucroy, able to keep that ball close, keep Barney over at second base. Curveball from Axford in the dirt, so Lucroy automatically is going to be prepared to block it, and he keeps it close.
See what he has in mind here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. DeJesus chases one. A high fastball, the best bolt of the night for Axford at 95 miles an hour, and out number 2.
Well done mixing his pitches. He and Lucroy went curveball, fastball, curveball, high heater, and swing and a miss. That ball nearly in Lucroy's glove by the time he swings. He just literally threw that one right by him.
So the high heat from Axford.
That's the effect that, you know, throwing that first pitch curveball over for a strike. That's what that will do for you.
And now Starlin Castro able to lay off the curveball from Axford. Tough matchup here. Castro, such a good hitter. Normally thrives in spots like this. Darwin Barney at second, representing the tying run. And Castro lays off another curve. (2-0), the career matchup for Castro. He's 2 for 8. Interesting that Axford has struck him out 4 times.
Probably the most dangerous hitter in this lineup in these situations.
Castro tonight is 1 for 3. He bounced into a double play in the 5th. His single came to right field, and he took a big rip. 2-1 the count. Axford said he has been working on some mechanical adjustments. Anything spot your eye with him lately?
Looks like he's not standing so straight up when he delivers the baseball. Looks like he's got a little bit of a bend in the upper half, maybe more of a power position as opposed to straight up. He's giving him a better angle and able to get more on his fastball and more consistent with his curveball. Of course, that's just me. That's just what I see. Sometimes these things are very subtle. Sometimes you can't even see.
Well, he's trying to make it 4 consecutive scoreless outings. after losing his closer's job. Here's the 2-1. Castro swings and misses, and a nice block by Lucroy. 2-2 the count on Starlin Castro now. That was the slider from Axford, which we've seen a whole lot more of since he has been out of that closer's role.
Yep, that was the difference maker for him last year in September. More sliders and curve balls, able to throw more strikes with that pitch. And now he's got both of them working pretty well. You got Castro set up for a high heater.
See what he does. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a fastball right by him. 95 miles an hour, and Axford starting to pitch his way back. A scoreless 7th inning for the Axeman, and the Brewers still lead 4-3 as we go to the home half.
And the crew is coming off of their sweep of the San Francisco Giants, and they did it with some improvements in some key areas. So on our AT&T Twitter poll tonight, we asked you what impressed you most about the Brewers sweep over the Giants. 60% said the bottom of the order, 34% said the bullpen, and 6% went with clutch hitting.
Well, Carlos Gomez goes deep to right center, a home run for the Brewers. And Milwaukee extending their lead to 5-3 as Gomez pops his second home run on this homestand.
Well, when he starts doing that, look out, National League. Gomez has really been concentrating on waiting back. You can see Samardzija with a fastball out over the plate, and Gomez lets it travel, and he just hammers it out there into right center.
As Betancourt sends one in the air, a pop-up behind third base. Castro is there to make the catch. A Badger insurance run here.
These are the kind of swings you see Ryan Braun put on baseballs. Gomez with the big finish high. Showing a lot of confidence, letting the ball travel, and a nice catch out there in the Toyota territory.
Yeah, that was risky. It's a long fall there, reaching down for that baseball.
It's worth it for an $8 baseball.
Good catch, man.
Maybe $10 I think they cost these days. They're about $120 a dozen, which isn't cheap.
Hi, I just made that catch. You're going to see me on the highlights tonight. Now the Brewers lead 5-3 as Blake Lally, the former Cub, will pinch hit for the Brewers here. So how it turns, the Cubs have a runner at second base with 1 out. And John Axford able to strike out DeJesus and Starlin Castro to end the inning. And then right away on the first pitch, Gomez sends one out to right center. That was a bomb to right center too. And Lally goes down the right field line. That ball is well hit and it hooks foul. Just got out ahead of it, did Blake Lally.
Stays on the ball nicely, does Blake Lally. Nice level swing through the zone. Not a young kid, but young in experience.
As a matter of fact, this is only his 10th career major league game. 6 of those came as a member of the Cubs last season. No balls, 2 strikes on Lally as he rolls over one foul. Well, he'll never forget his first hit as a Brewer in his very first at bat at Miller Park. Lally with a game winner, and it ended up as a single, a walk-off single against the Giants on Wednesday. Sounded like he broke his bat, and there is Castro to make the play for the out. So 2 up and or 2 gone, I should say, after the home run by Gomez. And back to the top of the order now, and Nori Aoki. Aoki tonight has a single. He's 1 for 3. He reached on an error to start the game offensively. And the first 4 batters of this game for the Brewers all scored. And then a bunch of zeros until Gomez's home run. And now the Brewers with 9 home runs on this homestand. This is the 4th game.
And coming into tonight's game, Samardzija had not allowed a home run.
At the plate presented by Wendy's, Aoki, who has 2 home runs for the season. He's had 1 on this homestand. Bouncer out to Barney, the Gold Glover, and that is the inning. But Carlos Gomez goes deep to the opposite field. 2nd home run of the homestand. 2nd of the year, gives the Brewers a 2-run lead. Brewers Cubs at Miller Park. Well, the NFL draft is less than a week away, and the Green Bay Packers again picked late in the 1st round. And you can get up to speed on what the team might do by reading Paul Immig's daily position previews. That's at foxsportswisconsin.com. Draft coverage on Paul Immig's column. So Axford goes a scoreless 7th inning with a couple of Ks, and now Tom Gorzolani will be in a setup role here in the 8th. The former Cub.
Yeah, it's been a while for Gorzolani. Last pitched on Tuesday against the Giants and threw a scoreless 8th inning. Issued a walk, but struck out a couple of batters. The only run that he's allowed this year was on his Brewers debut back on April 2nd against the Rockies. And he's gone 6 1/3 scoreless innings and has been elevated to the setup man role. Tom Gorzolani's been throwing well.
Pitching against his hometown team from Chicago. He went to Marist High School and pitched for the Cubs for a couple of seasons, 2009 and 2010. And now he will pitch for the Brewers against the Cubs as he faces Anthony Rizzo here in the 8th inning. Got some lefties to deal with. Rizzo leads off. Soriano's a right-handed hitter, and then Nate Shearholtz, another lefty after that. Remember, Dale Swain was ejected from this game as Rizzo just unloads on one. That is way back. Oh my goodness. Rizzo hits it a mile high and a mile far, and he brings the Cubs back within a run. And how big is that Gomez home run looking right now?
Well, he might not be hitting for much of an average, but his power speaks for itself. Home run number 5. And hitting a .170 before that at bat. So he's making his hits count. Gorzolani behind in the count 1-0. Left one out over the plate. It was supposed to be on the outside corner, and Rizzo knocked it out of here. All 3 home runs have pretty much been in the same spot here at Miller Park.
All by lefties. DeJesus, Valbuena, and now Rizzo. So it's 5-4 Milwaukee. First home run allowed by Gorzolani this season.
Pretty good extension, gets under it, but he's strong enough to muscle it on out of here.
Yeah, that was way up there. A bouncer to Segura. Got plenty of time. And Soriano is out. So the first out. And we always encourage you to get interactive with us here on the broadcast. You can send text questions as well. And our Ho Chunk Gaming text question today comes from Timmy in Waukesha. What is the most exciting play in baseball? I'm going to go with the inside the park home run.
Yeah, that, you don't see many of those, but I think you see more triples. I think the triple is one of the most exciting plays in the ball game. Jonathan Lucroy hit a triple today right down that right field line. And by the time Nate Shearholtz got to it in the corner, Lucroy, the catcher, able to get in sliding into the third safely. You know, Robin Yount was kind of an advisor in this ballpark, and when it was put together, and said that he wanted these angles and make it a triples ballpark. And we saw one tonight.
Well, Ron Renicky will make a pitching change. So Gorzolani is out, and in comes Badenhop.
Run and gave up a solo home run to Anthony Rizzo. Hey, this Sunday the Brewers take on the Chicago Cubs at 1:10 p.m. and all fans in attendance get a George Scott bobblehead. Compliments of Toyota. Visit Brewers.com for tickets.
The Boomer, the Gold Glover, and expecting a big crowd. All fan giveaway on Sunday for the final game of the series. Brewers are headed out west after that game. San Diego and Los Angeles next week. So Renicky goes with Burke Badenhop as the Cubs announce their pinch hitter, Scott Hairston. And you see what Badenhop has done over his last 3 outings. He has been a big part of the Brewers bullpen success.
Man, when he's right, he gets a lot of ground ball outs. He got his 3rd career save on Sunday against the Cardinals. Last pitched on Wednesday.
Hairston pinch hitting for the Cubs. In there for the left-handed hitting Shearholtz. Anthony Rizzo homered to start this inning off Gorzolani. And it's back to a 1-run game. Gomez went deep for the Brewers in the bottom of the 7th. The catcher Wellington Castillo. He is on deck. A family of big leaguers, the Hairstons. Scott is the 5th Hairston to play in the big leagues. His brother Jerry, of course, former Brewer, Jerry Hairston Jr. Now with the Dodgers. Scott's brother Jerry was a huge part of the Brewers division championship team in 2011. Scott's father, Jerry Hairston, was a big leaguer. His grandfather, Sam Hairston, and his uncle, John Hairston, all played in the big leagues. It's almost expected if you're a Hairston to play in the big leagues.
I played against the dad, Jerry, when he was with the White Sox. Played against him. Great pinch hitter.
Strike called outside corner. Badenhop burns the edge and punches out Scott Hairston for the 2nd out.
Well, when you talk about location and how important that is, it's especially important for Badenhop, who relies on that sinker, able to catch the outside edge with that late movement. Started off the corner with the late movement, caught the edge, and got the strikeout. Badenhop fired up, very animated with his infield.
Castillo takes a strike. Badenhop is zipping it in with that sinker. Castillo has power, just 1 home run this year, but Cubs expect him to be a power hitter at Wrigley, especially when it warms up and the wind starts blowing out. He's been a hot hitter, Wellington Castillo. He's coming off a 4-hit game against the Rangers yesterday. 4 for 4 yesterday. 0 for 3 tonight. And he's still hitting .395. A bouncer up the middle. This is Weeks. And Badenhop plows through the Cubs in the 8th. So a home run by Rizzo of Gorzolani. Badenhop gets the last 2 out, and it's 5-4 Brewers.
Badenhop. Nice job to get through that 8th inning. Brewers clinging to a 5-4 lead right now. Davey and I getting set for Brewers Live postgame coming up. This one's still coming down to what the starting pitching's able to do. Estrada in line for a victory right now if the Brewers can hang on. Struggled after the first 2 innings, but still held his team to 3 runs.
Well, give credit to both pitchers. And I tell you, when Marco Estrada really kind of gutted it out because, he was cruising that first 2 innings, and then all of a sudden got some change-ups up in the zone that they hit out. And he's kind of struggled, but he gutted it to keep the team in the ball game after that.
Got his 6 innings in, and now it's up to the bullpen, which has been so strong during this 4-game winning streak. Coming up on Brewers Live postgame, our instructional goes back to spring training. The grip on the bat is what Rock is going to be talking about. And again, our instructional coming up on Brewers Live postgame. We'll get inside the Brewer clubhouse as well. Glenn Braggs is helping you out. Hey, Rock?
Yeah, it's a shame how Glenn Braggs has let himself go over the years.
Really has.
Look at that guy, man.
Shameful. It's like Fat Elvis.
Body fat count of about -3, I think.
Man.
My goodness, is he in
That's a
shape.
man's man. I remember Braggs breaking bats across his back on the follow-through.
Yeah, we actually did those, some of those instructionals during fantasy camp.
Nice. Well, he wears that uniform very well. I can't speak for the rest of you.
Of course, I was joking about letting himself go. He made us all look very, very out of shape.
Scott Hairston stays in to play right field after he struck out in a pinch hit role. New pitcher is Kevin Gregg. And the Cubs getting 7 innings out of Jeff Samardzija, but Gregg takes over this 8th inning. He started his season with the Dodgers.
And signed a minor league contract with the Cubs. After being released by the Dodgers on April 3rd, he came up on Sunday. A closer in the big leagues. A guy that throws a fastball and a slider will predominantly stay away from hitters.
Slow roller, going to be a tough play. Castro, long throw, no chance. Segura with an infield hit, and 2 more hits today for Gene Segura.
And that one with his legs. Really no chance for Castro, who has a great arm, but still not able to get Segura. Look how quickly Segura gets out of the box and is running at 100%. Takes him about 3 steps to get about 100%. Watch him.
Sniffing the hit. Segura has 2 more today. And that bumps his batting average up to 377, his 7th multi-hit game. And the Brewers leading the league in infield hits. That is number 22 of the season. Segura and Aoki, Carlos Gomez. Braun's even had a couple. Braun hit one over the fence back in the 1st inning. 3-run home run for the Brewers. It was part of a 4-run 1st inning. 2 home runs tonight. Ryan Braun and Carlos Gomez. And the Brew Crew would love to add some insurance runs on the board here. Henderson preparing for a save opportunity in the 9th. Good job by the Brewers bullpen, specifically Badenhop, finishing off the 8th inning after Gorzalani allowed the home run to Rizzo. Got a scoreless inning from Axford tonight. And Badenhop with 2 batters retired, including a strikeout.
Axe just continues to look better and better out there on the mound. Very encouraging for the Brewers.
Now the Cubs have really scuffled with their relievers this year. They've had injuries, they've had ineffectiveness. Carlos Marmol was removed from his closer's duties. It was given to Kyuji Fujikawa, who ended up injuring his forearm on his pitching arm, and he's on the disabled list now. Let's take you back to the 1st to Ryan Braun. Before many had got to their seats, a 3-run home run for the Brewers left fielder. And just like that, 8 pitches into the game, Jeff Samardzija was down 3-0.
And it was good the Brewers got those runs because Samardzija was lights out after that.
He ended up going 7 and only allowed 1 more run the rest of his outing. Samardzija went 7 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 of those were earned. Had 2 walks and 6 strikeouts, but he's on the hook for the loss, which would be his 3rd if the Brewers can finish it out. Meanwhile, Marco Estrada went 6 innings for the Brewers and is in line for the win. 6 innings, 3 runs, all earned. Despite not having his A stuff tonight, it didn't appear. Segura goes. Pitch is outside, throw to second, not in time. Segura with a stolen base.
Oh, what a nice throw by Castillo. And Segura just outran it. He had a great jump and got to second base quickly. This kid's something else. Look at this throw. Maybe if it's on the bag, he gets it, but it had to be a perfect throw. Second stolen base for Segura. Bang, bang. He's safe.
Castillo cut down Aoki earlier tonight, and yep, that was close. Could have gone either way. Brewers might have got a break. Brewers are 9 for 12 in stolen bases this year. So now Braun is up there with a runner in scoring position. Nobody out. 8th inning. And Greg walks him. 1st and 2nd with nobody out.
Yeah, residents of Milwaukee, Ozaki, Racine, Washington, and Waukesha counties, you can purchase half-price tickets to Brewers games against the Pirates and Cardinals April 29th through May 3rd. Save 50% on tickets at brewers.com/5county.
Castillo on his way out. Tough decisions here as you get into the Cubs bullpen. Remember, Dale Swaim ejected, so Jamie Quirk and Chris Bosio organizing the pitching the rest of the way. And 2 former Brewers.
Another right-hander out in that bullpen for the Cubs. And well, you ask your cleanup hitter Ricky Weeks to drop down a bunt. Maybe get some insurance runs. Might have to do it against somebody else other than Kevin Gregg.
Sean Camp as Quirk goes to the mound. And he'll take the ball from the big right-hander. So a pitching change here at Miller Park. Camp coming in. We'll take a timeout. series. And Milwaukee trying to extend their winning streak to 5 in a row now, coming off a sweep of the Giants. And they've got something cooking here, Rock, in the 8th inning. New pitcher is Sean Camp with 2 on and nobody out to start the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, 7th appearance for Camp. He knows all about working a lot. He tied for the major league lead in appearances out of the bullpen last year with the Cubs with 80. Off to a rough start. Well, nobody out, a couple of men on. Ricky Weeks, the cleanup hitter, up. Do you ask Ricky to bunt? Get some insurance. You stay away from the double play.
Weeks has been bouncing into a number of double plays this year. He's not a guy who's bunted very often in his career. Just one successful sacrifice bunt in the last 4 years. So we'll see what Renicky does here. 2 on, nobody out. And Weeks not bunting, takes a ball.
Although Ricky has struggled so far this year, you don't often ask your cleanup hitter to bunt.
Inning started with an infield hit by Segura. Braun drew the walk after Segura stole second base. And a chance to add to it. Steve Reich on the corner. Now, after the injury to Fujikawa, Swaim putting Camp in that closer's role. And Jamie Quirk here, the bench coach, asking Camp to try to get this game to the 9th inning. Still a 1-run game. This could be the game in this 8th inning.
This is what Earl Weaver used to do. He used to bring in his closer, Tippy Martinez, sometimes in the 7th inning in situations like this, figuring that if I don't get the outs now, I'm not going to need my closer anyway. Chris Bosio, Jamie Quirk trying to work their way through it.
Dale Swaim was ejected in the 6th inning. The 1-1. Strike called again.
2 perfect pitches on the outside corner. Won't get any better than that. You know, Fox Tracks has him right on the edge at the knees.
Cubs are set up to turn a double play, and Segura takes off, and he is going to be picked off. And Braun able to get to second base, but Segura is out. Wait a minute. He tagged Segura. Segura left the bag. Segura's going to
well,
first.
You can't swap places.
No, you absolutely cannot.
Well, they were both at second base, and the guy that originally had second base is going to be safe. Now Braun's out. Now Segura's at first base.
He can keep going backwards, can he? I mean, Braun's eliminated from the play at that point.
Right.
And the old saying is you can't steal first.
You can't go backwards.
I think he just did.
Now this is something, you know, this homestand has been very interesting in that a couple of instances you have rules and applications of rules that you rarely see, and this is one of them. Ryan Braun is out at second base because Segura had initially had possession of the bag, and now Segura is at first. Thinking that he was out, he left the bag. The problem the Cubs had is they should have tagged Braun. He would have been out. Segura left the bag, tagged Segura right away. He would have been out. Check it out. Right here. So tag. Now they're both out anyway, right there.
Right. He put the tag on him.
He put the tag on him the second time. He should be out.
Absolutely.
Because he did the right thing.
In the umpire's mind, Phil Cuzzy, Braun was tagged out, which eliminates him from the play, which means Segura can go backwards if he wants.
Do anything he wants, but then he was tagged again once he was off the bag.
He sure was. They missed it. And now Weeks strikes out. And a very promising inning is Now down to 2 gone with a runner at first. Crazy play here.
Now check it out. Now you run both runners back to second base. All right. He tags Segura. He's going to be safe. You tag Braun. Now he's out. Now Segura's off the bag.
And he's out.
And he got tagged again. It should have been a double play.
Wow. And the runner who is out is not the one who occupied the bag when the play started. That's why Braun was the one who was out.
In that situation, both runners stay right on the bag until the umpire tells you to get off the base. Segura thought he was out. He left the bag. Braun was actually the out. Segura leaves the bag heading back to first. He gets tagged, but they don't call the out.
Is that like a double negative?
Now I don't know how to put that in the scorebook. Now I got to put Segura back to first base.
I guess he stole first base. So he could actually steal second base twice in this inning.
For the second time. Now they're doing the right thing here. All right. Tag, you're safe though. Tag, you're out. Now he tags him again. I think they missed it at second base.
Segura's got to run here. And he goes, and the throw to second, and he's out. So the first time he tried to steal second, he was safe. The second time, he's out. One of the craziest base running innings you will ever see.
You'll never see that again. Ever.
Inning over. We go to the ninth. Brewers by a run. Four, going to the top of the ninth now, and a crazy play. This is going to be a trivia question one of these days. Has anybody ever reclaimed first base? And Segura picked off, and he is tagged out, or so he thought. They tag Braun, and they tag Segura again. Segura realizes he's the one that should have stayed at second base, and he ends up backtracking, essentially stealing first base. And for the second time of the inning, he tries to steal second. First time successful. He's caught the second time, and the inning ends.
I'm not sure you can actually do that. I mean, I don't think you could start a play that when the play begins, you start at second. A lot of stuff goes on, and the guy at second ends up at first. I have never in my life ever heard of that. So we're going to have to dig into that. And first of all, it should have been a double play.
Right.
Because Segura got tagged when he was off the base.
Now the Columbia St. Mary's save tracker at 2 for Jim Henderson, and he's on to try to nail it down for the Brew Crew. And he'll be up against the bottom of the Cubs order. Valbuena leads off.
Got to go deep into the rule book on this homestand.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to figure out.
This is something that if you have seen it tonight, you will never ever see it again.
Well, somewhere people are thinking about Jimmy Pearsall when he took off around the bases backwards after he hit a home run. Of course, he was out. Can't go backwards.
I know the Brewers.
So I thought.
Yeah, I know the Brewers have bigger fish to fry to try and nail this game down. But just figure, if Ricky Henderson knew that he could steal second, go back to first, and then go steal second again. I mean, I think he would have done it.
That's a great point, because he is the greatest of all time.
You're not allowed to do that.
Ball and 2 strikes on Valbuena. And he fouls it away. I mean, you can watch this game every day for your entire life.
Somewhere
and you're going to see something new and something unusual.
Somewhere Segura was able to get back to first base, and I don't think you're able to do that.
Brewers had runners at first and second and nobody out. I'm still not sure how to account for Segura getting back to first base.
Exactly.
The 1-2 pitch outside. 2-2. And Jim Henderson and the Brewers trying to make it just an interesting side note, because the Brewers could have used the runs in the bottom of the 8th. Henderson can make it moot. 2-2 pitch. Valbuena in the air, left field. Braun eases over. He'll make the call. And there is out number 1. And here comes Darwin Barney, the Cubs' 8th place hitter. Cubs will have a pinch hitter next in the pitcher spot. Looks like Deanna Navarro will be the hitter of choice for Chicago. One man out. Barney 1 for 10 on the year. That infield hit in the 7th inning was his first hit of the season after starting the year on the disabled list. Brewers trying to win their 5th consecutive game, and a swing and a miss, and it's 0-2 on a slider from Henderson. That's his money pitch. See what Lucroy puts down for him. Back to the slider.
Now, I think I found that in the rule book. It's 7.08i in the comments section. And what Segura did technically is not allowed, but he didn't do it intentionally to confuse anybody or make a travesty of the game, so it's okay.
Oh, nice. Good find. 1-2 and a little tapper foul. That actually bounced, I believe, off the face or shoulder of Barney. I would imagine, I'm just guessing, I have no proof of this, but I'm sure that rule you just read has to do with Jimmy Pearsall going backwards around the bases.
Right. If a runner touches an unoccupied base and then thinks the ball was caught or decoyed into returning to the base he last touched, he may be put out running back to that base, but if he reaches that base previously occupied safely, he cannot be put out while in contact with that bag. There you go.
You had me at hello.
That's exactly what Segura did. It's in the rule book. But it was moot because he was out anyway. He got touched the second time.
Right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Henderson deals, and a called strike 3. Barney is rung up as Henderson strikes him out with a fastball at 95 miles an hour. 2 gone in the 9th.
Now Henderson continues to be very good. He paints the outside corner with that big fastball. 1 out away. Perfect pitch on the outside corner.
Right at the bottom of the strike zone. Henderson letting it rip with 2 strikes. So 2 gone now, and the Cubs are going to bring on Deanna Navarro to pinch hit. he's had some success coming off the bench so far this season. 3 for 7 with 2 home runs off the bench. Navarro, a switch hitter. As a left-handed pinch hitter, he's 1 for 3. The one hit was a homer, and Henderson misses. 2 balls, no strikes. Well, you certainly don't want to get to the top of the order. Henderson trying to wrap this up right here and now. De Jesus, who has already homered tonight and has 2 hits, is on deck. And if he bats, he'll represent the go-ahead run. In the air to center field. That's down for a base hit. So Navarro continues his success as a pinch hitter. He's now 4 for 8, and he extends the game.
And Carlos Gomez did the right thing. They're playing no doubles. He was playing deep and didn't try to make a circus catch and risk having that ball go back to the wall. So he played it safe. Now you're willing to give up the single, but not the double. Same situation here. You give him the base hit, that's not going to beat you in this at bat. A double may.
Well, a pinch runner, the newly acquired Julio Bourbon from the Texas Rangers, will run for the Cubs. And his first action, speedy outfielder. And it'll be David De Jesus, who hit one into the Loge level in right field back in the 3rd inning, part of the 3-run Cubs 3rd. All 4 of the Cubs runs have come via the long ball tonight. De Jesus, Valbuena, and Rizzo. Game on the line here in the 9th. Tying run at first. Henderson making a run at his 3rd save. Henderson has 2 wins as well. Left-handers can give Henderson some trouble. He's pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider. There goes Bourbon. Lucroy's throw to second. It's a good one. The tag in time, and the ball game is over on a caught stealing. A perfect ending to this night. Jim Henderson with his 3rd save as the Brewers win for the 5th consecutive game.
And look at the throw by Lucroy. Not a very good jump, but he can throw and barely getting him. Good tag by Segura. Now watch Segura. He's going to tag the front of the base and not reach for the runner. Doing a heck of a job, and he was out. Ball game. A lot going on in these games on this homestand.
Well, it's been entertaining. The Brewers are 4-0 on this homestand, sweeping the Giants and winning the opener here against the Cubs. A 5-4 final makes a winner out of Marco Estrada. Jim Henderson now 3 for 3 in save opportunities. We send it out to Craig Cashon. What do you have coming up on Brewers Live, Craig?
Well, we're going to talk about that win streak. We're going to talk about that bizarre base running out in the 8th inning by Milwaukee. And how about the way this one ended with Jonathan Lucroy's arm on a steal attempt? We're going to hear from the clubhouse, Ron Renicky, all coming up. Brewers Live should be a good one next.